We're at the practice field of the Rockwall Yellow Jackets, who last week lost a tough decision to McKinney, 42-35. This week they play against Rockwall-Heath at Wilkerson Sanders Stadium. It's Friday night at 7:30 p.m. We'll be talking today with Coach Washburn, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, as well as a couple of the offensive and defensive linemen, Chris Tanner and Walter Garrett. Well, Coach, you had a tough loss last week. Tell me what happened.
Well, I tell you, every loss is tough. The first half we came out against McKinney. We knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. They're a good football team. We were able to match them score for score. They're in the first half. We came out in the second half, and we had somewhat of a rough third quarter. Offensively, weren't able to put the points on the board like we needed to. The fourth quarter, defense allowed us to have the ball there late and had a chance to win the game, and we weren't able to execute there late. And so basically, we just didn't make plays when we needed to make plays there late in the game, and we fell short. And so just taking all that information, we'll regroup, and we have regrouped, and we're going to come back and we're going to get after Heath this week.
Did you have any injuries last week that will carry over to this week's game?
We really didn't. We really didn't have any injuries last week, so to speak of. You always get banged up, bumped and bruised, but nothing that'll kick kids out. But injuries this year has really caused our offense to evolve somewhat.
Yeah, Josh Broach, of course.
Sure. With Josh getting hurt and him being somewhat of a feature back for us, and so we've had to do some other things. But our play of our quarterback has really risen up. And Alan Reed, he's a great football player. He's a tough, hard-nosed kid, and he's making really good decisions right now.
Yeah, he scored. Well, he was responsible for 5 touchdowns, wasn't he?
I guess so. Yes, sir. He rushed for, I believe it was 170 yards and threw for about 250. And he's just he's a great football player.
Very good. Well, okay. So you've learned some lessons from last week, as you said. You're carrying them over, and you're going to do even better this week against your arch rival, I suppose, Heath. What are the keys to victory this week, Coach?
The keys to victory on offense, every week we approach every game with no penalties and no turnovers. Those two things represent beating ourselves. And each week we've committed to attempt to get better at those things. And I really think if we can get through this next ball game with no penalties, no turnovers, you always have a great chance to win the game. And once again, every opponent in our district, everybody's beating each other up. And it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a very physical game, a lot of high energy, and they're a good football team. So we just need to get after it and take care of the football and don't beat ourselves with penalties.
Well, we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. We'll be cheering. Well, Chris, you're an offensive and a defensive lineman. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Great. And you're a senior. Now, tell us a little bit about your feelings about last week. I know it had to be disappointing.
It was very disappointing. We fought hard. Our defense gave us the ball late. We couldn't get it done. Just offense stayed with them the whole game until third quarter when we had some trouble. And then defense gave us the ball and we just couldn't capitalize on it.
Now, what was it like down in the trenches there?
It's pretty tough down there. You get bumps and bruises all over.
I'm sure you do.
Just get jam fingers and stuff like that.
You got to get a good massage each week, do you?
Yeah.
All right, so you've got the big game coming up this week. You're a senior. This will be your last game against Heath. What are your thoughts about this upcoming game?
I don't really think about it that it's against Heath. I just think of it as another district game. Just that we need to win to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. And so what do you suppose, what are they expecting from you this week down there in the line?
They expect me to lead the O-line. I've been on varsity since sophomore year, so I know the offense very well. And I've just been playing and playing and playing. So they expect me to be up there and be a leader and communicate.
Now, what position do you typically play?
I typically play a strong tackle, so the right tackle.
Okay. And that's on offense, I guess?
Yes.
On defense, what do you play?
Nose guard or defensive tackle.
You're right in the middle of it all. Wow. Yeah, I can see where you're the anchor. All right, well, we wish you the very best, Chris, and good luck to you. Have a great game. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, Walter, thanks for taking a couple minutes off the practice field. Here I see all your buddies out here practicing. Was it a tough practice today?
It was hard. We practiced hard. We're ready to play.
Midweek practice. Is midweek practice usually pretty tough?
Most of the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you had the tough loss last week, as we just discussed with Coach Washburn and with Chris. Now, you want to give us a little bit of insight as to what happened last week? I know you guys were real close.
Well, I feel that defense didn't play as good as we're capable, and offense did a good job. We just need to step up on defense.
Couldn't quite stop them, huh? Now, on defense, what position do you play?
I play nose guard.
Oh, all right. So you're right in the middle there too, yeah. Well, all right. So that was last week. So this week you're going to go out and win, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So on offense, what position are you playing usually?
I play strong tackle.
Okay, very good. Now, what do you think you're going to need to do this week? You think you got to score a lot of points? You think you just got to play tougher defense? What's the key?
It's a mixture of both. We got to play tough on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a close game.
Are you? Did you say you're a senior?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this will be your last game against Heath, and we're about halfway through the season now. Is it? I guess you're not undefeated, but is it going pretty well as far as you're concerned?
Oh yes, I'm having a lot of fun my senior year.
Good. That's great.
A little bit faster.
That's great. Well, what's it like to play out there at Wilkerson-Sanders Stadium with about 8,000 people cheering for you?
There's nothing like it. There's no place I'd rather be on Friday night.
Pretty exciting, huh? All right. Well, we wish you the very best this week. Hope you'll win. We'll be cheering for you.